In the quiet village of Amuka, where red dirt paths curved around little huts, and the air smelled like burning firewood, lived a young man named Emeka. Emeka was gentle and kind, like the soft wind that shook the leaves of the banana trees. He always greeted the sun with a prayer and thanked the moon before bed. But in a village where people cared a lot about clothes and status, Emeka was hardly noticed. He wore old clothes that were faded and patched. Emeka lived in a small house at the edge of the village. It was made of mud bricks, and the roof was covered with rusty metal sheets that made music when it rained. Emeka's father had died when he was 13. Since then, he took care of his mother and his little sister, Ada. Emeka grew up fast. He worked hard every day and never complained. Everyone in the village knew Emeka. Not because he had money or land, but because he was always ready to help. If someone's roof was leaking or their goat had run off, they called Emeka. He never asked for payment. He just smiled and helped. The elders respected him. The children liked him. The women said he had a good heart. But even with all that, people didn't really see him. Emeka ran a small business. He sold palm oil, yams, and firewood. He pushed his goods in a wooden wheelbarrow from house to house. He always smiled, greeted everyone politely, and never cheated anyone. He wasn't rich, but he was honest, and people trusted him. But there was one thing that made Emeka sad. His clothes. His shirts were too big and faded. His trousers had different patches sewn by his own hands. At weddings or village meetings, he stood far in the back. He looked at other men dressed in fine clothes and felt small. And then there was Ngozi. Ngozi was the daughter of the village teacher. She was kind and beautiful. When she laughed, it felt like sunshine. She wore bright clothes and walked like a queen. Emeka liked her very much, but he never told her. He felt she was too far above him. Emeka often wandered to the stream in the evenings, watching the water ripple against the stones. It became his quiet place, a spot to dream about what life could be like if he had more. Not riches, but a little dignity. A clean shirt. A future, and maybe one day, someone like Ngozi by his side. Little did he know that Ngozi also felt the same way he felt. She was loving him silently, but she was waiting for him to make the first step as a man. His mother noticed that he was always worried. One night, as they sat outside under the stars, she said gently, "My son, you are more than what you wear. You should not be bothered about what you wear. Wear the one you have with pride and stop seeing less of yourself in them. Clothes do not define a person, it is what they carry in them that defines them. Remember, there is a saying that says, do not judge a book by its cover. People that value personality will definitely be there for you. But if wearing better clothes will make you feel strong and fulfilled, then work for it. Don't borrow to look good. Earn it." "Mama, you won't understand," Emeka said. "Don't you know that almost everybody in this village wants someone looking good in new clothes, not all the worn-out clothes I put on all the time? But you can work more so that you can get to that place you are looking at," his mother said. "I know you will be great one day and you will fulfill your father's wish of becoming one of the richest men in this village." Emeka nodded and said, "I have heard you, Mama. I will definitely make Papa proud and I will continue to take good care of you and Ada." Soon, a big news spread round the whole village. The Igwe's son was getting married. Everyone would be there. It was the biggest wedding in years. Emeka wanted to go. He wanted Ngozi to see him. Just once. He thought about what he could do to look different at the wedding, but nothing came up. He had wanted a chance to talk to Ngozi, to win her over and possibly marry her in the future, and that event was a big opportunity for him to dress differently so that Ngozi would look his way. At a point, he remembered his friend Obinna. Obinna was his childhood friend. He came from a rich family. He was loud and full of jokes. He had the same body size and stature as Emeka. He always wore the latest clothes. Girls in the village liked him and always wished he would look their way. Some would go as far as fetching water and firewood for his mother just to see him and also for him to see them. Obinna liked Ngozi, but she preferred Emeka. One evening, Emeka decided to see his friend Obinna and see if he could borrow one of his suits. "Obi my G," Emeka jokingly called Obinna, "How far na, how have you been?" "I've been good," Obinna said. He offered Emeka a seat. Both of them talked about the happenings in the village and about the upcoming Igwe's son's wedding. Talking about the wedding, Emeka said, "I actually came to see if you could borrow me one of your suits that I can wear to the wedding, the shiny blue suit to be precise." Obinna laughed. "You? In my suit? But you have never borrowed my suit before. Why do you want to borrow it now? You know the upcoming wedding is going to be the biggest in this village in over a decade. I need to look good, and also I don't want the girls to see me as a homeless boy on that event," Emeka said. "That's not a problem, I can give you the suit, but don't mess it up." Obinna chipped in. "Please," Emeka said. "Just for the wedding. I promise to keep it as neat as you give it to me and return it immediately after the event." Obinna gave him the suit but warned him to be careful with it and not to spill food on it or over-dance with it to avoid falling down or causing a tear. Emeka left Obinna's house feeling fulfilled and happy that he was going to attend the biggest wedding in town looking good and rich. "This will be a big opportunity to have a talk with Ngozi," he said. On the wedding day, the village square was full of drums, food, and laughter. Everyone dressed in their best clothes, smiling at each other. Soon Emeka was sighted in a blue suit. People stopped and stared. The village girls were going from one corner to the other asking their friends if they had seen how stunning Emeka looked. Everyone wanted to see Emeka. "Wow, he looks like a prince," some of them said. For the first time, people really saw him. "And Ngozi?" She smiled at him. Emeka was very happy for the attention he had grabbed. He moved and sat by the corner with some of his friends. Deep down, he knew that the outfit wasn't his, and he needed to be careful to avoid staining it. He stayed away from food. He walked carefully. He danced slowly and carefully and didn't want to get the suit stained. But when Ngozi brought him a plate of food herself, with a warm smile on her face, he couldn't say no. "You look nice today," she said. "Thank you," Emeka replied shyly. He took the plate. But as he tried to eat neatly, a piece of meat slipped. Palm oil splashed onto the blue suit. People who saw it gasped. Some laughed. Emeka froze. His face turned red. He dropped the plate and ran behind a tree. "There," he cried. He went home from there, thinking of what to do to the stained suit. He soaked it with detergent, washed it several times, but nothing changed. The stain was still there. The next day, he went to Obinna's house to return the suit. "I'm sorry, I stained your suit," he said. Obinna was angry. He looked at the suit and said, "But I warned you to eat carefully. Next time, wear your own. Be proud of it. You don't have to borrow to get people's attention. Back home, Emeka couldn't sleep that night. He made a decision to work harder and grow his business so he could earn more. The next morning, he started going to the nearby towns to sell his goods. He made a lot of sales that day. He continued buying more goods and selling in nearby towns. He made friends with farmers and traders. His wheelbarrow turned into a bicycle cart, then into a small van, and later a pickup truck. The transformation was a surprise to the whole village. After 6 months of hard work, going from town to sell his goods, Emeka opened a provision store in the village where he sold both provisions and foodstuffs including farm produce. He sold things people used to travel far to buy: rice, soap, body cream, perfumes and more. He became successful and helped others. He started giving school uniforms to poor children. He taught young people how to run honest businesses. But not everyone liked his success. Some older traders became jealous. They spread lies, a lot of lies, about him. Some said he did money ritual. Some said he was a cheater. One man, Chief Duru, said, "No one becomes this rich without cheating." Emeka heard all they said about him, but he stayed quiet and worked harder. 3 years later, the rain stopped for a long time. Emeka sensed that there might be a long period of famine in the village. He went to the nearby towns and purchased foodstuffs in large quantities and stored them in his warehouse. Just as he predicted, crops failed that season because there was no rainfall. Prices of goods went up. People from the nearby villages heard that there was a man who still had foodstuffs to sell. They did not hesitate to head over to Emeka's town to buy. People suffered. Emeka had to choose between raising his prices or helping the village. He chose to help. He sold his goods at the old price. For 3 months, he made little money. But he didn't give up. They began to say, "Emeka is different." Some of the village chiefs wanted to have Emeka as their son-in-law, but Emeka laughed out loud whenever any of them said that to him. He would politely tell them that he had someone already. Ngozi, now a teacher like her father, started a school project. She honored Emeka as the most honest trader. Later on, Emeka began to travel. He traveled to the city to learn more about business. He met a young boy named Tund in the city during one of his travels. Tund worked at a noisy motor park. This reminded Emeka of himself. He brought Tund home with him, gave him a place to stay, and taught him how to run a small business. Tund learned quickly. He joined Emeka's group of traders. Together, they started a group to help young people in the village. One evening, Emeka stood under the big iroko tree in the market. He watched the people laugh and work. His wife, Ngozi, came to stand beside him. "Look at what you've built," she said softly. Emeka smiled, tears in his eyes. "Yes," he said. "And I see who I've become." The boy who once borrowed a suit now wore something greater, earned respect and love. Helping people and building the society. The moral of this story is that we need to be contented with what we have. If we need more, we should work harder to get more. Though some situation makes us to break out of our limit, just like Emeka did after he had stained someone else's suit.